stirring the grape creatine mix with the giant chopsticks of truth using the vortex method, the only true way to optimize the taste of your grape creatine. At the molecular level, good morning. Welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. I know it's been a long time, but I thought I would tease you with season 10 coming up real soon. Let's talk about a woman's shit test today. A woman's shit test is her instinctive way of probing a man's frame to see if he is weak, soft, or easily rattled. I guess you can't blame him, right? It's kind of like a stress test. When metals are stress tested, you want to see if it can bear the weight of something, whether it be construction beams or rebar, that kind of thing. A woman does the same thing. She tests your strength constantly. She'll throw out a challenge, a sarcastic comment, a demand, a provocation designed to make him qualify himself, defend his position, or chase her approval. It's not cute flirting, has nothing to do with that. It's not innocent testing. It's her biological wiring, if you think about it. It's firing off to sort the strong from the weak, because deep down, she wants a man who can't be fucked with. Women shit test men unceasingly from the first approach through the relationship and even after years together. It never stops because their nature craves the security of knowing that you will not fold. Fuck, that sounds like a lot of work, doesn't it? Pass the test by holding your ground and staying in your own frame and responding with amused indifference or a stronger pushback that reinforces your leadership. And never be afraid to say goodbye. Never be afraid to say next. If you fail the test by getting defensive and you have to start explaining yourself or simping for her validation, watch her lose respect for you real fast. It's raw female nature at work in a world that has told women they can act like this without consequence. A based man recognizes it, calls it what it is, and refuses to dance to that tune. Stay solid, my brother. Stay solid. Your frame is your kingdom and the only thing that you have control over. That's one of Rollo Tomasi's iron rules. Actually, iron rule number 1. Frame is everything. Here's a lady who left her husband of 14 years to be with a stranger she thought was her soulmate after one magical night where he rocked her world at a work conference, only to be rejected by him after. Then she wanted her husband back. Isn't it funny how that works? The grass is rarely greener on the other side. Apparently, she needed to be entertained. She was bored with Old Faithful, wasn't she? Trust me, most will circle back. TACB, they all circle back. 80% of all affairs happen in the workplace. Your woman already knows who she'll be with if it's not with you. Don't blame the dude, it's her. Unfortunately, many men are up for a little forbidden fun, unfortunately, no matter what the woman's relationship status is. I worked in a hospital once where I knew a fairly studly guy, we'll just call him Chad for lack of a better term, and he was nailing one nurse and doctor after another. 80% of them were married. If you have a woman that goes on work trips, she travels for business, goes on girl vacations and such, you will never hear about, you know what they say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens on the work trip stays on the work trip. What happens on the girl's vacation or cruise stays on the girl's vacation or cruise. What happens at work stays at work. That's the unwritten rule with women. Sir, if you struggle with dating, welcome to the club. Dating is not in our DNA. I forgot to drink my grape creatine. Nice.
Nice.
I'm out of practice, okay? If you struggle with dating, welcome to the club. You're not alone. Dating is not in our DNA. It's not. And a large percentage of men struggle with its most basic aspects. The struggle is often fueled by the fear of doing something wrong, looking foolish, getting rejected, becoming a Me Too casualty with false allegations, and divorce and breakup. So what do men do? We spend years playing it safe and doing nothing at all. The all too common outcome of repeated failure leaves many men feeling frustrated, defective, unlovable, and even resentful. I call it relationship PTSD. Are you a simp? I can show you that you are or have those tendencies. I think most men have the potential of being a simp. Simp is a slang term used to describe a man who is overly submissive, desperate for female validation, or excessively attentive to a woman, often to his own detriment, and without receiving the same level of interest in return. Simping behavior is generally seen as self-sacrificing, weak, and lacking self-respect. I mean, I never had a woman want to buy me a car. I never had a woman want to take me on a cruise. I never had a woman say, I'm going to buy a nice house where we are going to be comfortable, and this can be your little craft room, and this will be my work, this will be your workshop. This can be your study, and you can put your library in here. Men do that. Women don't do that. Women are recipients of our assertion, our aggression. The recipients of the battle that we go through every day in life. What is a woman's job? Listen, I come in at the end of the day bloody from the battle, getting out there, crushing it. I do my coaching, I cut hair, I'm out there making deals, I'm doing investments, and I'm dealing with a crazy world. The last thing I want to deal with is crazy when I walk in the door. Here are some common simping behaviors. Prioritizing a woman over yourself, constantly putting her needs, this is what I was just talking about, wants and desires, ahead of his own, even when it negatively affects him. Another one, seeking validation, fishing for approval from women and feeling incomplete without their attention. Overgiving with no reciprocation, showering a woman with gifts, dinners, favors, money, even if she shows little or no interest. You'll take a girl out to a steakhouse, and what you're not doing is having a transactional thing. You're doing it because you want to have a nice time. But women, right from the start, want to go to an expensive dinner. They don't want to go out for coffee. That's why I say, take her to Waffle House, not a steakhouse, and see if she still likes you. If you start out a relationship doing $300 and $400 dinners, you are expected to keep that up because that's what she's looking forward to, a future of $300 steak dinners. Defending her bad behavior, making excuses for toxic, manipulative, or disrespectful behavior from a woman just to stay in her good graces. Agreeing with everything she says. Lacking his own opinions and viewpoints just to avoid conflict or disagreement. This is what the vetting process is all about. How many times have you ignored a red flag only for that very thing to come back and bite you in the butt later on? Being overly available, dropping everything to respond to her messages, always being on standby for her, and never making her chase or invest. Most women, not all, never invest in the relationship. They don't think about your future. They think about their future. Whereas men look at a woman's past as one of the best predictors of the future. Women don't care as much about your past as they do about your future. We are wired different. We're not the same. Allowing disrespect, tolerating rude, dismissive, or humiliating behavior just to stay in her orbit. You've heard some guys say, what their deal breakers are, and the list is like this long. And I say it just boils down to three things. Number one, show me love. Like, never deny me intimacy. And that doesn't mean sex. That could mean, look, if we're sitting on the couch and I reach over and grab your hand, or we're driving somewhere and you pull your hand away, that's intimacy. Denying a man intimacy is one of the quickest ways to build a big chasm in between you and the man. I hope some ladies are watching this. Never embarrass the man in public. Schooling him, wagging your finger at him, sitting there like this in a public place. Your body language signals disrespect. Other people notice that, and then the man just shrinks. You experience that one time and get out, because that is a red flag, and if you ignore it, you're going to have a lifetime of being embarrassed in public by that woman. And the other thing is, I jokingly say don't get fat. I have a tendency to like women with a little more padding on them. I don't like these skinny, Ozempic, starving gym sisters. I just don't like that. I like a woman to look like a woman. I like the curves. I like a little bit of meat on the bones, as they say. But don't get unattractive to me. Like one guy posted on, I don't know where it was, probably on X, where he talked about men prefer a chubby woman. And I looked at a picture of this woman and she looked normal. There was nothing chubby about her. I think if you're focusing on these women that look like a chopstick, a normal woman would look fat. Do you really want to be laying next to a skeleton in bed? We want to feel a little softness. We want to feel the curves. It makes us feel better, but just don't get unattractive. It could be gaining weight. It could be gaining weight. It could be not taking care of your skin. It could be not brushing your hair out or using conditioner and having a nice soft look. Just don't get unattractive. And that is a relative topic, a woman being unattractive. Like some of the women that I have been attracted to, other people have said, I have no idea what he sees in her. Okay, that's fine. You're not the one who's got to spend time with her. That's fine. I've been criticized for my choice of women in the past and how they look. I've had beautiful women as girlfriends. I've had mid-level women as girlfriends. And I found that women are women. It doesn't matter. I don't think a mid is any more faithful than a higher level woman, a higher level beauty woman. We want youthful beauty. We want agreeableness. We don't want a slave. We don't want a yes woman. But who the hell wants to argue every time you bring up an opinion? The disagreeable nature. When a woman's face changes, you talk about something like, a COVID vaccine. You talk about MAGA or Trump, and the woman's just face changes. I've unloaded women when they've done that, when I watch it change, when I watch this Jekyll and Hyde stuff, and then I try to talk them off of a ledge. Stop doing that, guys. Stop it. There will be no convincing of a woman of the things that you believe in. She either embraces your values or she's not part of your life. Lack of boundaries. Allowing himself to be walked on or manipulated in hopes of securing her attention or affection. The jokes about, looks like I'll be in the doghouse tonight. I'll be sleeping on the couch tonight. It'll be a cold day in hell before you sleep on the couch or be designated to the doghouse in your own home or apartment. Simping ultimately stems from a lack of self-confidence, a scarcity mindset regarding women, and an overvaluation of female attention. A man who respects himself, sets boundaries, prioritizes his own goals, and seeks a mutually respectful relationship rather than chasing after one-side affection, that man is a success. I once dreamt of a family business where the money stays in the family. If the builder husband and builder wife can creatively coexist, both know business or have a little bit of business sense, they can be partners, be on the same team, keep personal stuff separate, both work toward a common goal, be competitive but not with each other, make a fortune together, live in paradise, creating something that will outlive both of them. I dreamt that once. Then I woke up. Women aren't the terrifying creatures that you might think. They're not mystical, unpredictable creatures sent here by God to ruin your life. They're human beings with patterns, preferences, incentives, and boundaries. What is terrifying is the way most men choose a woman, or more accurately, the way most men don't choose at all. They drift, they react, they say, what the hell, and swipe right. They let loneliness, lust, their dicks, ego, past failure, past victimhood, or fear do the selecting for them. Then they act shocked when the outcome is chaos. That's not female nature, which is a completely different topic. That's male negligence. So I do put some burden back on you, sir. Most men don't screen properly. They don't observe behavior over a period of time. This is why I tell you, you will be a pattern recognition expert. For instance, you date a woman and somewhere along the conversation over a period of a couple weeks, you find out how she broke up with her past boyfriends or husbands. That's how she will break up with you. Recognize the pattern. But you know what? You're different. You're special, aren't you? It will never happen to you. Okay. They don't watch how she treats wait staff, handles stress, manages conflict, or talks about her exes, or talks about her father. That's another thing. What was life like for you growing up? Tell me about a typical day in Cheryl's life growing up, that kind of thing. Don't ask the hard questions early because they're afraid of rocking the boat or only having one date. They ignore red flags because the sex is good.
Great ass! And you got your head all the way up it!
Because she might be attractive and hot to them, and she makes them feel chosen for the day. Then later, when the bill comes due, they call women crazy instead of admitting that they made a crappy choice. There will be no bad choices. So I need you to become a pattern recognition expert. So here's the uncomfortable truth. Women behave very differently depending on the man who's in front of them. Weak men create chaos and then complain about it. Weak men create hard times. Let's get real. Decisive men attract dominant women and then resent them. Men with no boundaries end up with women who test, push, and eventually lose respect for them. One of the questions that I ask men in coaching all the time, and this is the question, like a lot of questions that I ask, a man will answer pretty quickly. But the one question that I ask men who've gone through breakups and divorces is this. It makes them stop in their tracks. They get quiet. They might look off into the distance and then come back to me. I ask this question. When do you feel that she lost respect for you? 9 times out of 10, that man will tell you the exact day, time, where they were, what the scenario was, when they felt that the disrespect started. All women shit test all men at all times. You don't get punished for being a good man. You get punished for being unclear, indecisive, needy, and avoiding conflict while pretending to be a nice guy. If every relationship you've had ends the same way, the common denominator isn't women. It's your vetting process, or the lack of one, if you think about it. Start with the man in the mirror. You picked based on how she made you feel in the moment, not how she lives, thinks, and moves through the world. You chose fantasy over reality. That's why I said stop being a fantasy investor and be a purveyor of reality. So you make a mistake and then you blame the mirror for your problems. Strong men are not afraid of women. They're deliberate about who they let into their life. A strong man moves slowly. A strong man pays attention. They walk away early when things don't align. They don't try to fix or save anyone. God called you to lead, not to rescue. There will be no rescuing. Never outsource your standards to your libido. The best sex you ever had was with the crazier ones. Admit it. Let's get real. What do they say? Crazy in head, crazy in the bed. A total man understands that peace isn't found in finding the perfect woman, but becoming the kind of man that chooses wisely and isn't afraid to be alone if the choice isn't right. Hence the table for one lifestyle. Women can't be alone for long. You never hear about women going into nun mode. But us guys, we always talk about going into monk mode. Women aren't the problem. Your selection criteria is. You'll never have girl problems ever again, not because women changed, but because the man in the mirror changed. That right there, that's some real shit, my brother. Understand this and prosper. I love this meme. There's a woman at a wishing well. She says, "Please, wishing well, make me impossible for men to resist." Then poof, there's a motorcycle in front of the wishing well. And finally, for you guys that are starting over after a breakup or divorce, realize this, it's a different world out there. Even if you've been single just for, or not coupled up, even for a year, things have changed since last year. It's a different world. 9.5 times out of 10, when you scroll through a woman's dating profile, you see the vacation photos, the oceanfront balcony, the boat, the clinking wine glass pictures at the steakhouse, the first class seat, the helicopter ride, the airplane cockpit, the luxury resort. Remember this, odds are she didn't create that lifestyle by herself. Odds are some guy paid for a lot of it. He booked the flights, he reserved the hotel, he rented the boat, he picked up the dinner tab, he stood there smiling and took the very picture that she's now using to market herself to the next guy. Think about that. The previous man financed the photo shoot. The next man saw the advertisement. Never be impressed by lifestyle pictures of women. They never tell you who she is. What do you look for? Character and stability. Your attitude should be, show me your peace, show me your loyalty, show me your values. Any chick can pose in front of a yacht that they don't own or raise a wine glass that another man paid for. Look for character. Peace is always more valuable than peach. And with that, finish your creatine, and I'll see you on the next Daybreak Show, the only home of sanity, clarity, and reason.